Welcome to Newsnight 2098. Headlines today: the World Wide Net has crashed. Which means there's nobody actually watching us.
Girl, you got it.
However, we feel compelled to produce this piece as an archive piece for posterity and have employed our top animators as well as graphic artists to visualise today's events. Main news. Mr. Mohammed Khan has reached the age of 150.
Woo!
The first man ever to do so. When asked the secret of his prolonged life, Mr. Khan replied, lots of exercise, 5 fruit and veg a day, as well as the amazing NHS.
The hours of research which goes into each new discovery shows how important this organisation is. When Mr. Mohammed was born in 1948, the life expectancy was 65. In 2000, this increased to 75, and in 2098 to 110.
Coincidentally, the NHS was set up in 1948 in Manchester by Newgen Bevan in order to provide free healthcare for the masses of Britain. Now, this meant that for the first time people were able to afford treatments for illnesses as well as research being centralised.
Yes, I believe our researchers have found footage from the 1950s from how the NHS educated the public.
If your partner falls whilst having a picture taken, don't run around like a madwoman, or scream at passers-by, and definitely don't hit them around the head with a wet rubber glove. Simply put them in the recovery position. That's it. Then sit down and have a nice cup of tea. Well done.
We have come up with what we think are the top 7 achievements of the NHS. Luckily, the time-travelling teleporter is still working. Hello, I'm from the future. Would you mind if I asked you a couple of quick questions?
Well, no, I am with the patient, but as long as it's quick.
Okay, no problem, thanks for that. Well, as I say, I'm from the future, where I'm from. Mr. Mohammed, he's just hit his 150th birthday.
Oh.
Yeah. So, basically, in his life, he's had to undergo quite a few treatments. One of those was a hip replacement. Would you be able to tell me a few things about hip replacements, how they started?
Okay, well, you've come to the right place, actually, because hip replacements were started in Wigan, which is nearby, in Wrightington Hospital. And it was a guy called Professor Charnley, I think, and he was really into hips, and he made his own hip joints out of Teflon, which we used to make non-stick pans. So, yeah, I think that's... Well, actually, I do know as well, when they first started in the NHS, if you died and you had a hip replacement, you had to give it back to them.
Oh.
Which is so...
Thank you very much.
Mr. Mohammed had a heart transplant in 2005. I'm off to pay a visit to the doctors at the hospital where this was undertaken. Hi, I'm from the future. We're doing a report about the NHS. Could you tell us when the first ever heart transplant took place?
I think it was 1968 in London, and it took 18 doctors and nurses.
Can you tell us the effects that it has on somebody's life?
It's brilliant. It's like they're a new person and they can do things they've not done for years. What's it like in the future?
We make all our own organs now.
The next great achievement that we'll discuss is the national vaccination of children, making them immune to killer diseases. I'm just going to pop back to the 1980s to see how it was done there.
So just need you to roll your sleeve up for me. Okay. Some alcohol first, alright? Alright, it's only a small. Okay. Short scratch. Okay.
Thanks for that, Steve. Number 4 on our list is in fact the fact that in 1978 the first test tube baby arrived in Manchester, enabled by the consultant Mr. Patrick Steptoe.
Hello.
Hello, I'm from the future. Dr. Steptoe?
Yeah?
I'd like to ask you a few questions about the delivery of Louise Brown yesterday.
The delivery went very well. I can see a time in the future when couples who can't conceive naturally are easily able to have children.
And how do your staff and researchers feel about this then?
The staff and researchers are going to put a lot of smiles on a lot of people's faces.
Trust me, they have.
Thank you.
Nearly 70 years ago, scientist Charles Peacock perfected the brain processing unit, which was researched at Nowgen in Manchester. Patients such as Mr. Khan, who suffered depression after the death of his wife, were aided by identifying the cerebral cortex's XCZ area. Targeted drugs enabled Mr. Khan to be treated for his depression and become the healthy, happy individual that he is today.
I heard them say that they said the brain was remarkably like the PlayStation 7.
The final great discovery on our list is that of patient choice. From 2006, patients were able to make informed choices about their healthcare options, such as which hospital to be treated at. Each person also was able to get their own health MOTs for the first time, allowing personalised healthcare.
And finally...
Oh, hello. Hello. So, Professor, as you know, Mohammed Khan is 150 today. How do you think that's been achieved?
Well, I'd say it's mainly due to the advancements in clinical research. I mean, people like Mohammed are able to live for such a long time today, and not only that, but they can enjoy a great standard of living as well. I mean, I'd certainly say we all owe a great deal to the NHS and the improvements that have been made over the years. If we look back, say, 150 years ago, the things that we have today, such as being able to grow replacement organs and being able to read people's thought processes, they were science fiction back then.
Sure. And so what do you think has been the key to success for the NHS?
Well, undoubtedly it's got to be a strive for improvement constantly all the time, yeah.
That wraps up tonight's special report. We hope that was of interest to anyone that was watching.
And a big thank you to the NHS on behalf of Mr. Khan, the first man to reach 150.
Happy birthday.